All right, so we are back with another battle report. We are doing the Depot Raid mission, and I am joined by Jeff. And yeah, we've got a great table set up here. The mission is an attacker-defender scenario. So Jeff's going to be the attacker, and he's going to set up on the far side of the table there. And I'm going to be on this side, and we have 3 munitions depots that we have deployed here. So these count as impassable terrain, and for the duration of the battle, the defender, which is me, has to control each of the munitions depots, but has the opportunity to detonate them at the end of every turn. And at the end of the game, for each depot that the defender detonates, the attacker scores 10 points, or I lose 10 points. And I gain 5 points at the end of every turn that I control at least one of the objectives. So I gain 5 per objective that I control, and then of course Jeff gets the same on the attack. So that's about it for the scenario. There are fixed secondaries. So Jeff has the Carnage special, the secondary objective, and I have the Vital Intel secondary objective, which is why we have the single lone objective marker down here in the center of the table. So I'm going to be trying to get in that and get it off my table edge. And Jeff is just trying to destroy as much of my army as he can.
Kill.
So yeah, so we're going to take a break here and go over the armies, and we'll check back in with you in a minute. All right, so this is Jeff's 2,000, a little bit less, points of Alpha Legion. So here's a shot of it, and then Jeff, do you want to take us through it?
Yeah, I have one full demi company here led by a Kratos tank commander. He'll be joined into 3 Kratos tanks. Pretty much what you see is what you get. You have 2 Leviathan, Deredeo, 3 tac squads with 2 missile launchers each, and the Fire Raptor. And in the second demi company, you have pretty close to the same thing. You have 2 or 1 Leviathan, 1 Deredeo, the Sicarans instead of the Kratos. And then this one is led by a standard infantry commander, Terminators, Fire Raptor. And that's pretty much my list.
Okay.
A little less than 2,000 points. 1973.
All right, we're going to take a break. I'm going to give the camera to Jeff, and I'll take you through my Solar Auxilia. So this is my Solar Auxilia force. It should look pretty familiar to regular viewers of the channel. We'll start with the armored company here. So I've got my 2 Stormblades, and this is the tank commander, the guy in the cupola. We've got 4 Malcadors with Vanquisher cannons, las cannons, and demolisher cannons. And then we've got 3 detachments of Leman Russ Vanquishers with las cannons in the hull, and they're joined by a Lightning Strike fighter giving some air support. We've got, a Solar Auxilia sub-cohort here. We've got our 2 close assault detachments, 1 Velatari, 1 Ogren, and then 3 identical las rifle tercios. There's 8 stands with las rifles and 2 with flamers in each one, and then one of them is going to be joined by my Legate Marshal. The next formation is a Solar Auxilia Pioneer Company. We've got 6 laser destroyer rapiers, 8 Velatari, 4 tarantulas with the anti-air missiles, and a las rifle tercio with 8 las rifles and 4 flamers. And they're going to be joined by my tactical command squad. And then we have 2 Valdor tank destroyers giving some armor support. And then last of all, an Avenger strike fighter bringing in the rear. And that's it. So that's my 2,000 points.
And that's true.
Of,
he never shows himself, so I got to get him in the video.
So yeah, so that's my 2,000 points of Solar Auxilia. And we'll get set up and we'll check it back in with you after that. All right, this is the end of deployment, and we've also done forward deployment. So Jeff's made good use of his mutable tactics for the Alpha Legion. So as part of the deployment rules for this mission, it says that all detachments not in reserve have to be set up in your deployment zone. So that's not something that's stated in the regular missions. So we've taken that as basically saying that there's no infiltrate, but you can still outflank and forward deploy. So obviously the Alpha Legion special rule gives you the opportunity to choose whether you want to outflank, forward deploy, or infiltrate. So I'm going to let Jeff take us through what he did.
Yeah, just I basically did a line trying to counter, what you have. You have a lot more range than me. And then I just forward deployed my Leviathans because I need to get those into close combat so they can punch your stuff. And then forward deployed my Rhinos with missile launchers there, there, and over on that flank. And pretty much my deployment. I got my Terminators in reserve. They're going to deep strike. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. All right. And then for me, I had to deploy first, so I was deploying blind. So basically, I just set up my tanks first, kind of to anchor my position. I've got my heavy armor in the center here, kind of covering this open space between myself and Jeff's armor. And then I've got a Vanquisher detachment here on the left to try to cut down that movement corridor there. And then infantry are just in the back, basically. Got a couple detachments here looking to push forward, take that objective, supported by the armor. And then over on the right, pretty much the same. We got these Vanquisher Lehman Russ holding down this open space with some infantry, and then these the laser rapiers to kind of cover this flank. So pretty basic deployment. Still got some aircraft in reserve. My 2 Valdors were able to forward deploy. So they're kind of cutting in on that movement corridor as well. So that's it for deployment and forward deployment. So we're going to take a break there and come back to you after we've done movement turn 1. This is the end of movement turn 1. And Jeff, do you want to go ahead and do the honors and take us through what you did?
Just closing in on the objectives. Just rolled up a little counter punch over here if it needs to be, and missile launcher the hell out of you in the shooting phase. So pretty much, yeah. Trying to challenge those 3 to keep you from controlling them.
All right. Yeah, so over here on the right flank, we had some aircraft come in. Jeff brought in his Fire Raptors.
Yep.
I tried to intercept but missed, so we'll see what happens in the shooting phase. Over here, I advanced my infantry into these 2 buildings, trying to shield this flank, and then moved one of the infantry detachments up to try to control this objective. So we've got some Kratos, Leviathans just around the corner here, and then some Daradeos in the center. So I'm opposing those with some Lehman Russ and some Valdors. I left them where they were. They're on first fire, so hopefully they'll get a couple of decent shots off. I advanced my Velatari into the center here, claimed my vital intel objective. So if they survive, they'll be trying to fall back and move that back into my deployment zone. Stormblades and Malkadors moved up the center, facing off against the Arcus and those Rhinos, and then we have more Leviathans in the craters there. We are playing those as obstructing terrain, so they are concealed from any kind of fire. And then Jeff moved up his Rhinos here, trying to take this objective. I've got some Arvrans, and then these infantry here that are going to be fighting for control of that. More infantry over here on the left, also angling towards that objective, and then detachment of Vanquisher Lehman Russ. Pretty much the only target they have is those Rhinos, so we'll see how that goes. But that's the first turn. And we will check in with you after we finish with shooting. All right, this is the end of shooting turn 1, or combat turn 1, I should say. Yeah, so Jeff, any highlights?
I got air superiority. I shot your fighters down. Killed a decent amount of tanks, but so did you. We did pretty much trading on tanks, I think. You got a little bit more, but Rhinos are, whatever, right? Yeah, it's pretty good round for both of us, I think.
Yeah, I don't think there's too much game changing here. I did get my Velatari up to the objective, so they're going to be falling back. I do have to look and see if they're going to drop the objective because they are falling back, or if they're able to carry that with them. But other than that, just moving up, getting into some decent positions here.
You control
I've
that
got
one.
control of this objective. We need to check for the others as well, but we'll fill you in on that. I guess once
They're out.
we get done with that. So anyway, we're gonna take a break there, and we'll check. We'll come back after we do movement turn 2. All right, so this is the end of movement turn 2. So lots happening, as you can see. Jeff, do you want to take us through what you did?
Rolled up here. You wound up charging me. I thought I was going to try to charge them with the Rhino to lock it up and then charge with the Leviathans, but it didn't work that way. But it actually worked pretty good for a counter because you charged these guys, and these guys were able to counter charge them. Just walked out of the train with the Derrideos, flew on the 2 flyers. Going to do some tank hunting. Rolled up with the Kratos. We'll see what happens over here. Assaulted the these squads over here with the Leviathans. Rhinos rolled up. These Rhinos rolled up to try to get some little bit of control on the objective. These guys got assaulted. That's pretty much it.
Yep. Yeah. So we got a fight over here on the right. Jeff was able to take out one of my Lehman Russ with his point defense Havoc launchers. I think that was, yeah, that's about it. Oh, and you deep struck your Terminators right here in the deployment zone, and then moved them into these the difficult terrain here. So we're gonna see what happens with them.
You got a Terminator kill with those.
That's true. Yep. And then I backed up here with the Lehman Russ to stay out of the range of those plasma carronades. Yeah, and that's about it. So we won't belabor it on movement. We'll check in with you once we finish with shooting. All right, so here we are at the end of combat turn 2. So this was a pretty eventful turn. Jeff, do you want to take us through what happened?
Or over here, he killed a couple of guys over here in close combat with his X-Men.
The Veltari, yeah.
X-Men.
Yeah.
These guys dominated these regular infantry, solar auxiliary infantry guys. Kratos killed, I think, the one super heavy here, right?
Was it Stormblade?
Stormblade. These guys are useless.
Oh, the aircraft. Nothing. Yeah.
Over here in combat, you killed a Rhino, a infantry stand, and 4 Leviathans. You did better than me. You won that combat, but I had my commander over here, so I was able to make my morale. You wound up killing one of these guys over here, I think, with your Lehmans back there.
Yeah. Yep.
My Terminators killed 3 of your anti-aircraft missiles in the backfield. Yeah, pretty much it.
Yeah, it's not looking too good, but we'll see. We'll tally up the objectives here, and we'll see what happens. Right, so this is the end of movement turn 3. Pretty exciting. Charged up here on the end, or on the right flank. I moved my laser rapiers up into this building here to try to keep control of this munitions depot. Lehman Russ moved up. We're probably going to shoot either at the Kratos or those Rhinos if I've got line of sight. And then in the center, my Malkadors are hanging out in these craters here. And my Stormblade moved over, trying to put some shots on those Rhinos through the gap between that building and the cover there. And then over here on this side, there's a pretty big fight for this munitions depot. The Leviathans and the Ogrons are still duking it out. And then I moved my las rifles up here, basically because I knew they were going to get charged.
You're hitting a chord.
I know, yeah. Sorry about that. So yeah, so I knew they were going to get charged, so I was going to just back up just enough to try to keep these Terminators out of objective control distance, which I may or may not have successfully done. I did not keep them in base contact, which was a big flaw of mine, so they're not going to get that +1 CAF. So I need to go back to officer candidate school and figure out how to work my solar auxilia. And then over here, I did keep base contact here on this charge. So the Legate Marshal was able to get his guys to charge up and around these burning rhinos and attack these Space Marines, hopefully to keep too many of them from getting objective control either. So that pretty much sums it up for my side of the table. Jeff, anything from your side that you saw that you want to bring up?
You forgot to mention you got your secondary off the table, right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So the Velatari were able to rally and were able to move to the edge of the table and claim that vital intel. So that's 15 points. So that may be, as the name implies, it may actually be vital to the result of this game, but we'll see.
Oh yeah. I don't really have much to add. See how the combat goes, and pretty much, I think we'll probably much resolve this game after this round of combat.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're going to do combat, and we'll check in with you after that. This is the end of combat turn 3. So just starting over here on the right, the Velatari were able to take out a few stands here, and one of the tactical squads had to fall back or withdraw, excuse me. Jeff's missile launchers were able to destroy most of the infantry that were hanging out or occupying, garrisoning this building here, controlling this munitions depot, which pretty much secured it for him this turn. Moving on to the left here, kind of an exchange of fire between the Kratos, Darodeo, and my Stormblade and Malcadors here. 2 of the Malcadors were taken out. Stormblade's still standing with my tank commander. And then over here, there's a very strong engagement. Without the benefit of the Furious Charge, these Leviathans were able to clean up most of my Ogryn. And then the Terminators just tore through a bunch of the poor Solar Auxilia las rifles. So they fell back here, or withdrew. And then over here, the exchange of fire between the Darodeos and the Leman Russ ended up in 2 casualties for the Leman Russ. And I think I did 1, but I think you saved the hit on the Darodeos. So,
yeah.
And then my intrepid Legate Marshal charged in, and we actually won that combat. But I didn't position them well enough, so I wasn't able to keep my guys on the objective. But I did secure control of it early on in the game, and I've been able to at least have enough tactical strength on it to keep Jeff from getting double. So I was able to control that, and then this one over here is still contested. So with the secondary objective, we figured out that I was going to probably be able to hold on to at least this center one for the rest of the game. This is only turn 3, but it's a little late here, so we're going to go ahead and call the game there. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed that battle report, and hopefully we'll have another one for you very soon. Jeff, any final words?
No, not really. It was a decent game.
We liked this mission, though, I think.
It's a good mission.
If you haven't played the Depot Raid mission, definitely give it a try.
So it's a challenge for the attacker, I think. It's finally attack. Usually attacker can pretty dominant, but it's a good challenge. I'd like to try it again someday.
Yeah, with a different army set, maybe would be interesting for sure. So, okay. All right, Jeff. Well, thanks for the game.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right. And yeah, so like I said, I hope you enjoy the battle report, and we'll see you again soon.